Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here, back again with Hunter x Hunter on episode 119, and in the last episode we had Knuckle and Yuppie still going at it. Knuckle almost bit the bullet pretty hard to the point of death until Killua showed up, which I figured that he would do. I feel like they set up that to clearly be the case, and he was using his lightning as well, which is always good to see, because he hasn't really used it all that much, because I feel like he's been sort of training it, and it hasn't really been at a sort of a high enough power level to really do any damage. But I feel like now is when he can like really start using it now and doing some damage with it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And yeah, he's confident from last episode. He's confident, so we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, we have a Calgo who's down. The elevator or whatnot, can only get up via a certain code and everything like that. And he also saw a Nen message that obviously Palm had sort of written down on a wall, but that was before she went back up to, like when she went up to see about getting her mission done, whatever. And that was the last time we saw her. So it doesn't really give us any inclination as to whether or not she's alive or dead. But yeah, Calgo's stuck down there for now, so we'll see if he can get back up. Shia's transporting himself via like molecules, like proper just tiny fucking of his own being, outside of the smoke jail that Rel is in. So yeah, we'll see if that sort of comes to fruition and he's managed to get, like, if he manages to get out of there by this next episode. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it. And obviously Gon is still hanging out with Neferpito. I feel like that has almost been put on like hold, obviously, while we settle all of the other sort of fights that are going on. So I'm not sure when we'll be getting back with them. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all for episode 118. So yeah, we're just going to get into episode 119 and see what we get. I do have a cold as well, so it's starting to come on. I've been sneezing all morning, so yeah, if I sneeze like during the reaction, or it sounds like I'm a bit if it sounds like I'm under the weather, then it's because like I pretty much am. I mean, I don't feel bad, but it's just what it is, so if you do sense that I'm a bit under the weather, that's what it is. But yeah, but nothing else to really talk about, so we're just going to get in episode 119 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 119. Right, so a lot of the episode focused around Calgo, and I actually really liked how he faced the whole situation. How it was more like it wasn't just like a typical battle, but completely just outsmarting the opponent by like using stuff that he just found around the office and everything. The thing, I guess, the thing that really caught me off guard the most was the fact that he didn't put the shutters the whole way down, but instead laid down tape to act like it actually had hit the floor, which is great, because obviously him being an octopus, being able to squeeze through these little gaps and stuff. I mean, I guess he would have had to have known how big the elevator doors were in regards to the armored vehicle and all, because otherwise, if it completely covered it, I don't know. I guess there could have always been just like a tiny gap. I mean, octopus are like they can squeeze through like some of the tiniest gaps there, right? So I mean, who knows? I guess it may not have mattered anyway, depending on the shape of the vehicle, I suppose. But I did really like the way that he went about it and just completely outsmarted. What's his name? Bravada, is that it? But yeah, I mean, when he did eventually get him taken out, passed out, I suppose, from the sleeping gas, and he went to kill him, and he just couldn't do it. I guess I've sort of become akin to this idea that I just want him to do it to get it out the way, because it's like I don't want there to be a case where because he didn't do it, it ends up fucking something else later on, and it just comes back to bite him. But I guess I should really be taken away from the fact is because he's never killed anybody before, that it's not necessarily that he's a coward more than the fact that I think he's just a good dude. And even if it's the enemy or whatnot, it it's tough for him. You know what I mean? So I'll not lay into him, and I like a Calgo anyway. But but yeah, I love the whole plan of him, like, you know, using the things that he had lying around the office and stuff. The tape, obviously, to seal off to make it look like the doors were completely sealed. You know, using the pipe as a way to take in as much oxygen as he could so that he could outlast the sleeping gas from Bravada as well. And yeah, that was really cool. I'd figured that he'd use some stuff to, like, you know, it's like the whole thing of like if you get, like, I don't know, like a brick or something and lay it on the accelerator of a car and just let it go, like no one's driving it. I thought it would have been something like that, but then again, I don't know how he would have been able to get around that, considering the fact that the armored vehicle itself was in a parked position, and how does that go from that to accelerating when he's not even there? You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess it made sense as well. But it kept Bravado guessing as well, because at one point he actually thought there was two people there. And he actually still did, I guess, until he passed out. You know, so yeah, it was really cool to kind of say that. I forgot as well, because Calgo did say that the only other way out would be through the cargo as well, and I completely forgot about that, and I didn't know. Well, I guess, yeah, Calgo would have gotten that information, because he got as much information as he could from Nov and the likes, right? But again, it still needs a password. So, you know, and I know that Calgo was getting some passwords from somewhere. I don't know who he really got it off though, because he was able to open the maintenance room, I guess, with a passcode. So I don't know. Does that not work in the elevator? Who knows? I mean, I feel like the elevator should still be fine. It's just the doors that really got blown off. In which case, why didn't they make the same? Why didn't they make the elevator doors the same as the material that the shutters are? Because you would think that they would. I mean, during the reaction, like, I said, oh, well, just blow the doors off. I was like, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? Because, I mean, I thought the whole idea was to keep them restrained within there. So surely you would make the doors out of something that they wouldn't be able to blast through. But, you know, I guess, I don't know, just is what it is. So yeah, there was that, and then we also had the beginning there where Killua was going up against Yuppie. I love the look, I love the visual. That because he is using it within his own body, that it seemed like the way that the narrator was talking about it was that when he's using this ability, like Godspeed and you know, Whirlwind and stuff like that, all in one, that like the lightning sort of encompasses him, and it affects his body like he was getting shocked as well. That's how I took it. And I don't know if that's true or not. Like, he's getting jolted with volts, but because we've, you know, been told that Killua has, like, you know, been sort of like tortured and whatnot with this, like, throughout his life, to be able to withstand it, that it's fine to him and he's able to handle it. But because of that, he gets a real, like, boost to speed and everything, which is really cool. And then, yeah, so this ability Whirlwind as well, which is the first time we've heard of it, which is completely a reactionary thing that just goes on, like, sort of like vibrations in the end, which is why he was able to catch the swordfish dart thing, whereas, you know, it was said to, like, be pretty much like you couldn't stop it, right? Because the whole dartboard thing and whatnot, which, yeah, makes sense. But God, like, he was playing with him in that whole time. Like, if Killua was able to use that ability, like, endlessly, I don't think, from what we've seen of Yuppie anyway, I don't think Yuppie would have been able to do anything really, because there's only so much you can do. You know, he said during the fight that, you know, they're not even 10% of my raw power, but again, like, the power's only really gonna help you out in that fight if you can hit him, and if he's too fast for you to hit, then it doesn't really matter. I mean, he was saying as well that, like, you know, I'm getting hit too much to the point where I can't even charge up, so it's not like he can explode himself again, which is great. Killua just, like, had him for breakfast during that whole time. But yeah, it was interesting. Killua, at the very beginning, he said that he was blowing off steam. So I guess, yeah, it was from the whole gun situation. Like, it's pissed him off. So he's not you know, he just basically he went too far, and that's the reason why like he ran out of that ability, and like it's almost like he forgot about it for a second, you know. And when it did go off, he was like, oh shit, like I stayed here too long, because in his mind you can tell that like it was just like, yeah, he was just blowing off steam, but it was, you know, it was within his sort of just like nothing else was in his mind, not even focusing on how long he had left of the Godspeed ability. But I just love the visuals, like even his hair is jolted because of it. It's great. So yeah, the visual of that's like really really cool. And the last thing that well I guess no, it's because there's two things left, right? So the other thing that happened during that fight was that Shoot's I was trying to look at it through midway through the reaction. I couldn't fucking find it, but I know I did put it down somewhere. I'm sure I did. Where did I write it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so the Hotel Rafflesia thing. So that had dissipated through. Meanwhile, through that fight. So I'm guessing then. He's just passed out. Because Knuckles taken him away, right? They've done their job, right? I mean, Knuckles said that like that's it. Get like, you know, we're getting out of here. You know, so I assume that he's just going to run off, get out of the palace completely. You know, and it's just left up to Go and Killua and Morel as well. I mean, I suppose like by, you know, association and whatnot, Kalluto and Mello as well. But yeah, so there's that, and then the last thing is the whole Shia situation. So yeah, I said at the you know, the end of that reaction there that would breaking the cocoon fuck up Shia, because I don't know the ins and outs of the cocoon, which I guess is, you know, on purpose because Morel also doesn't know about that kind of stuff. You know, it's that thing of being cautious because you don't know what it is or what it's doing or what would happen if I was to attack it. The reason why I ask if by breaking the cocoon it would fuck him up, I'm not sure if the cocoon itself is what allows him to transport himself molecularly to somewhere else. If that is the case, then I think breaking the cocoon could possibly like essentially tear him in half, you know, if the cocoon is necessary. I mean, because the other thing is the cocoon could just be there to, like, as a shield to block Morel's view, so he can't see what he's trying to do, you know. Because if he was doing this in plain sight, like Morel would figure out what's going on. Like, oh wait a minute, why is he like steadily like disappearing? He's fucking transporting out of here, you know. So it could be just a thing to block the view. I mean, because it's quite clear from the very beginning of that showdown between Shia and Morel that Shia was... He had that thing where he was looking at him, and one of the things was caution. And I think that plays like a big part in how, you know, how confident Shia is that he's not going to come attack. So that's the reason, like, why I think it's just one of those things that the cocoon... It could be either of them. It's just getting information on what that cocoon's capable of and like how it works. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I mean, I'm trying to think what would be the likely course of action to happen. Like, would it be Shia getting out of there, or would Morel go and attack the cocoon and therefore something happens? For all I know, if the cocoon isn't stable for the whole process of him transporting, maybe it just puts him back to where he originally, like where the cocoon is, you know. So like it kind of like deletes all of the progress, you know. Because maybe that's it. But I don't know. I don't. Because then I feel like that's a waste of time. Like, we had this whole thing of Shia gradually transporting himself out over the course of these like these past 4 episodes or however long it's been. I think it's been longer than that, to be honest. And like, I just feel like, why would you have all of that build up for this thing if it would just reset and then right, we're back to square one again, you know? So I feel like the likely course of action is that Shia gets out. Morel's going to notice too late. and then Shia goes, he's going to head towards where Komugi is. But then it's going to be a case of what Morel's going to do, you know? I mean, the other course of action would be that Morel doesn't notice at all, and it's not a case of him noticing too late. Like, maybe he doesn't notice at all, so he's just stuck in Smoky Jail with a cocoon and himself, you know? I don't know, but then it could be a case of, like, once the act of transporting Shia is complete, that maybe the cocoon just dissipates and then it's obvious what's happened. But yeah, I don't know, because that's the thing, is like, if Morel does figure out that Shia's just got out, like, where does Morel go from there, you know? Because you would think he would have to chase down Shia, and I don't know. I don't really see Morel going to there, like going to where like Gon and Neferpito and that are, you know. I don't see. I mean, this is not really based on anything. I just feel like they made a case to make people be split up, you know. So I don't see them coming together in the same space. You know, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before, but I theorized that, like, because Shia's transporting himself out and he only has one place that he wants to go, that, like, he needs to go, which is, you know, to Komugi because of that whole situation, that it would be interesting if Gon, for the slightest moment, was a bodyguard for Neferpito healing Komugi. Because obviously without Neferpito in the picture, like, he can't get Kite back, which is even something that I don't think is possible anyway. But, you know, it's, I don't know what happens next. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got. So yeah, it was a nice little episode there for a Calgo. You know, even though he's definitely suffering with the fact that he couldn't go through with it. So I don't know what he does now. I mean, if he's just like wallowing in self-pity in the maintenance room, you know, he has to get out there, but at some point I feel like he is going to have to take a life, and it's just going to be a case of him, you know, one of his monologues that he ends up, you know, which is in relation to friends, like, you know, I mean, I have to do this for the others, you know, otherwise I'm letting them down. It'll come down to that. But I mean, who knows? But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got for episode 119. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I think certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well, so if you don't support me, that'd be very much appreciated. I'm trying to get to doing this full time again this year, so if you guys can help me out with that, then I'll be very much appreciative. And yeah, so there's a bunch of different tiers there that you can go look at. There's obviously the early access tier, which gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunt x Hunt every week. That's 2 on Monday and 2 on Friday. So as opposed to the general public, they only get 2 episodes a week. So by the time this episode comes out on YouTube for the general public, you can become an early access tier patron, have access to like the rest of the show and reactions, because I'm coming up to the finish now. So by the time this episode comes out, I'll be finished the whole thing. So if you're able to binge watch the rest of the show in reactions within like a month's time, then it's only going to cost you $5 for the rest of the reactions. So it's a pretty good deal. There's also full length there for $10 a month. That doesn't matter for this show, but for other shows you will need that. And then there are other tiers where you can pay to have me react to a show. So if you want me to react to a certain show, then yeah, go have a look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.